Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Monday Night Raw for Monday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there. Monday Night Raw in Brussels, Belgium, airing live on Netflix in the United States and around the world. First time I've been able to watch Raw live legally in the United States. Pretty cool. I believe this was the first Raw in Belgium, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, somebody in the chat room, please correct me. It's great to be able to recap Raw while the sun is still out, as you can see in the background. I love these international shows. The crowds are always energetic, and Brussels was no exception. Awesome crowd, red hot for the entire show. Let's get to this Raw recap. Thank you to everybody out there watching, whether it's live or on demand. I appreciate your viewership and support. Let's start with the big segment. We had the little introduction, the Cody Rhodes video package. And then we had John Cena making his first appearance since Elimination Chamber. No music change. Same John Cena music, same John Cena attire with the jorts, the shirt, the baseball cap. Cena, though, did not run to the ring. He was not all smiles. He walked. He had a very stern expression on his face. Crowd was immediately booing him. Heavy boos for John Cena. They were doing the dueling chants. They chanted, "You sold out." He teased walking out and not even talking to the fans. But then he finally spoke. He said that they were making this so easy for him. He talked about how for 25 years, he was the victim. He was the victim of an abusive relationship. He told them that their time to talk was over. He said, for all these years, people were bullying him into being their puppet and expecting him to do it with a smile on his face. But he said those days are over. He made it clear he is not a babyface. He is not a heel. He is a human being. And the people have been awful to him. He then said that they don't get anything. They should be ashamed of themselves. They don't get new music. They don't get a new look. He said that Cody is now their shiny new toy. And then he looked out into the audience. He brought up how some people were still wearing the Cena merchandise, but he called them out as well. He said that they wear the merchandise to feel good, but Cena lives it every single day of his life. He said that they use him as an excuse for their pathetic failure of a life. They sit on their asses and watch him be great. And he talked about how he is breaking up. He is ending this dysfunctional relationship with the fans, all of them, not just his detractors, but also his supporters. He's breaking up with every person. They are dumped. He said he doesn't care about them and they do not matter and they are in the wrong. And my mom is calling me, not getting the memo that I'm on live at 5:30 Eastern. It happens. I told her, but she's 70 and sometimes forgets things. There was a kid, by the way, in the crowd that was very upset. They got an awesome camera angle of the kid, a camera shot. I loved it. Cody Rhodes came out there. Massive ovation for Cody Rhodes. Cody came to the ring, and he only had a few things to say. He said that they gave John Cena their best. And Cena started to respond. He said, "Listen, kid." And then Cody was like, "Enough. It's not kid. It's WWE champion." Cody said that he already took Cena's best shot, and now he's going to retire John Cena early. He didn't want to face this John Cena. He wants the old John Cena back, not this whiny bitch. He then dropped the mic. He left. John Cena then walked out of the ring, took his leave, and the crowd was singing the goodbye song, "Na, na, 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 hey, 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 goodbye." And that was the end of the segment. Why is my phone on silent and still making noise? We're live, pal. Michael Cole had a little bit of a follow-up here, and then I'm going to give my thoughts on this. Michael Cole said that he believed in John Cena for 20 years, and it was the fans that made John Cena a 16-time world champion. But now John Cena has lowered himself to crying like an irrational prick. Michael Cole had his words, felt very similar to Tony Schiavone when Hulk Hogan turned heel. So with that, let me discuss my thoughts on the segment. I thought it was a great segment. It was one of John Cena's best promos of his career. His delivery was on point. The heat was there. The build for WrestleMania is really shaping up nicely. As far as him not changing his look goes, I have mixed feelings about the overall direction of this. It did feel like Hulk Hogan's heel turn in the sense of when Hogan turned his promo at Bash at the Beach, he was very upset with the fans, how they booed him. Despite doing the charities and being the good guy, they turned against him. And he told the fans to stick it. He was very frustrated with the fans and also frustrated with the overall state of the business. In this promo, John Cena, fed up with the fans, all the years of booing, which there is a logic issue here. And that's John Cena these last couple years. Every time he comes back, he's been getting cheered. It's been years since the crowd was chanting, "John Cena sucks." Like they've been behind him these last several years. You kind of have to forget about that the fans haven't been booing him in a long time. So if this happened like a decade ago, it would have felt a little bit more authentic. So that is a potential issue moving forward here. And I think that him turning against all of the fans might not be the most optimal play. I think that John Cena eventually will go back to being a babyface. So it's like he's going to be a heel for 7-8 months, and then all is going to be back to normal and everything. I almost would have preferred the Bret Hart route, where John Cena would stand by the fans that supported him, but of course call out all the people that were against him. But Cena's going big here. He's going full-blown villain. He is disowning the entire fan base, and we'll have to see where it goes. It's a bold play. I just wonder, what's the end game here? 7-8 months down the road, when the year is over and he's supposedly retiring, is everything just going to be back to normal? Oh yeah, John Cena, we all love him, one of the greats. Of course, that's what eventually happened with Hulk Hogan. I just hope they can go in a nice circle with this, and Cena will find a way back to redemption, and it'll feel organic and not forced. Like I said, bold play here. I definitely am curious about where this goes from here, but night one, I think it was a big success. I mean, you got the heat. Crowd was firmly behind Cody, and that's what you want. You want your WrestleMania main event to have a strong protagonist and a strong antagonist. And I think that's what we got here with these two. It was a great choice to do this in Brussels. The crowd heat was phenomenal for this, as AJ Styles might say. I wonder if it was in the United States, would it have been quite as loud? I think it would have still been significant, but yeah, this was a top-tier crowd with their reactions to this. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Building Nexus. I appreciate the tip. Building Nexus said, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes 2 at SummerSlam if Cena wins. I could definitely see that as a possibility. I'm still, and we're far out from WrestleMania. We're over a month away. I'm still leaning towards Cody winning just because I feel like Steve Austin showing up and will stun The Rock, and that will help Cody win. Also, we got Randy Orton coming up. Now, maybe John Cena does win and faces Randy Orton for the title. Either way, I think Randy Orton is getting the world title match at Backlash, which will be in St. Louis. But we'll talk more about Randy Orton later as we get closer to the Backlash event. The other only criticism I might have of the segment is that I think that Cena was starting to ramble on maybe a little bit. I think they probably could have cut the segment down just a little bit. All in all, I think the whole beginning segment went like 26 minutes, and maybe the John Cena portion of it could have been a little bit shorter. You know, they were milking the crowd reactions and everything, but I do think the overall body of his promo could have been maybe reduced just a little bit. They could have shaved 2 or 3 minutes out of it and made it a little bit more impactful with less. But all in all, I think it was a great segment. That's my take on it. And I do want to see how it plays out. And we just take this week to week. But so far, so good. All right. Let's get to the rest of the show, which I'll just say it right now. Before we get to it, let me get to the super chat from Walter Cruz. Thank you, Walter, for the super chat. Walter says, Cena shouldn't win 17 until he goes back babyface so he can notice I sold my soul for no reason, and that's what turns him face again. That's the story. Well, I've seen some comments about that. Some people believe that maybe John Cena will realize The Rock was playing him or something like that. There was really no mentioning of The Rock or any of that. It was more about Cena being frustrated with the fan reactions. You know, you fans can stick it, brother. Similar to the Hulk Hogan promo. But yeah, that definitely could be a way that Cena gets his redemption. You know, something with The Rock. Cena will realize he was manipulated by Dwayne, and he'll come out there, be all humble. You know, John's an actor. He can pull it off. He can come out there and, say, I screwed up. We're all human. And he could use that to be another motivational promo saying, even the best of us make mistakes. Nobody on this planet is perfect. He could say something like that as a motivational speech and apologize and be humble and everything. So if anybody could pull it off, it's John Cena. Again, we got to see how this ride plays out. Like, there's a lot of twists and turns. Who knows where it's going, what the end result is going to be, other than Cena will probably wrap it up back to being a babyface. It's just a matter of how we get there. And Steve-O thinks that Cena losing would cool down the momentum. We'll have to see what they do. I mean, maybe they save it for later in the year. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities, but we'll talk about predictions when we get close to the show. What I was trying to say about the rest of Raw was I thought it was pretty much a standard Raw with a really hot crowd, which definitely made it an easier watch than usual. Penta versus Ludwig Kaiser. Good match here. It was no holds barred, so they were using the weapons, brawling on the outside of the ring. And we had some chairs being involved in the match. Kaiser ended up giving Penta a Death Valley driver onto the announce table. And then he tried to rip at the mask, which you never do that to a luchador. That just pisses them off. And Penta gave Kaiser a back body drop on the table. They were back in the ring. And they traded shots. Kaiser was trash talking, and that was his downfall. Penta got the chair. He kicked it into Kaiser's face, gave him a Mexican destroyer on the chair, and then pinned him 1, 2, 3 with the Penta driver. After the match was over, Penta was interviewed and was asked what is next, and Penta basically said he is turning his attentions to the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know if this means a multi-way match or what's going to happen, but good match here, and Penta continues his momentum in WWE. Now, Hamp sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. Says, spoiler, WWE is going to crap the bed on it as always. Well, Hamp, I know you're one of the more critical ones of WWE, and we're going to try to get Hamp on the No DQ review. Maybe the review after WrestleMania, and depending on what happens, it could be a very interesting discussion. So, Hamp, we're going to try to get you on the review. I let Virtue know. And if you guys want Hamp on, make sure you post about it, comment on it during the review. If Virtue knows there's the man for it, we'll make it happen. All right, so backstage, we had the Judgment Day. And once again, Dominic wants to bring in a new person for the Judgment Day group. He suggested Penta, which Finn Bálor did not appreciate because Bálor is focused on the IC title. He didn't like that, and he called Dominic a snake. So the heat continues with the group. We then had Dakota Kai versus Ivy Nile. Very basic match here, not much to it at all. LWO ran out there and chased off American Made, and then Dakota got the win with the GTK. It was just very standard, unnoteworthy TV match. Next up, we had one of my favorite segments, the contract signing, although at least this had a good storyline purpose. I don't hate the contract signings when they're used once in a while, and it actually makes a little bit of sense. So here, this is the obvious setup for Rhea Ripley. You know, they haven't officially made the match official. So they're in there doing the contract, and they both cut their little promos, basic stuff here. I'm going to be the champion, blah, blah, blah. They sign the contract. Then Rhea Ripley comes down, of course. Adam Pearce is trying to get the officials out there. Rhea gets in Bianca's face. Io comes in, and then, of course, everything turns into a fight, and Rhea ends up power bombing Io Sky onto Bianca Belair, who's laying on the table. Table did not break, so future Botchamania for that. And then Rhea Ripley signed the contract. But of course, you can't just do that. You can't just walk in and sign the contract and you're officially in the match. Obviously, there will be a follow-up on that. And then Rhea Ripley left with the contract. Segment was all right, but I do like that they did the contract signing for this. It actually made a little bit of sense. I was all right with it. Then we had Jey Uso coming to the ring for a match with Austin Theory, and the world champion Gunther made a brief appearance, got in Jay's face backstage. Jey then came to the ring, and he had his match with Austin Theory, and it went like 30 seconds. I kid you not. This was almost blink and you miss it. So, yeah, 30 seconds. Jey hits Theory with what I think was supposed to be a spear, but it was more like a crossbody. And Michael Cole even called it a crossbody. And it ended the match 1, 2, 3. Theory lost to a crossbody. It was supposed to be a spear. Yikes. This was a guy who Vince McMahon once was booking as the future of the company, and Theory loses in a 30-second match. Wow. Even Brian Cage gets more of a decent showing on Dynamite. Austin Theory's here. Austin Theory's like Max Caster now. What the hell? Oh man, this was rough for Theory. And after the match, Gunther attempted to attack Jey. Jey fought back though and ripped off the championship. Gunther charged at him, but Jey sidestepped him. Gunther went over the top, and Jey held up the championship. So at least we didn't get another pull-apart brawl this week. And then they did announce that next week there will be a tag match, and Jey is going to have a mystery partner. And it's going to be in Scotland. At first, I'm thinking, well, okay, Jimmy Uso, but since it's in Scotland, is it going to be like Joe Hendry or something? I'm wondering. People are talking about Joe Hendry potentially being the mystery partner. It might be. I'd be down for that. You know, if you got this partnership going with WWE and TNA, that would be a nice little rub for TNA. Wouldn't shock me, though, if it ends up just being Jimmy. We'll see. Then we had a Braun Breaker video package, and then backstage, Rhea Ripley handed over the contract to Pierce, wanted the match, but Pierce said no. And then Bianca and Io attacked Rhea, but then they attacked each other, and then Rhea fought back. So all three were brawling, and Pierce needed the officials to break it up. It's not official yet, but very clearly that's where it's going. Shout out to Hamp, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. I appreciate it. Hamp says, maybe I'll take the Cena route and not show up here until the review to finally air my grievances. That'll get ratings, bro. Ooh, there you go. Hamp is potentially going to be mysterious here and not speak anymore until the review. Hamp, that might be difficult. I know you're very opinionated, and when people are opinionated, it's hard to keep quiet. We had the Creeds versus Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee in a tag team match. Another basic match. Wrestling-wise, like, there wasn't really much to this Raw. The matches were pretty short, basic, nothing too spectacular. And this one was another standard TV match. Creeds got in a little bit of offense. I was actually surprised by this one because I thought the Creeds would win with interference from the American Luchador. But no, it was a clean win for Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. Rey with the 619 to Julius and the big splash. Lee had taken out Brutus with a Hurricane Rana off the apron. LWO wins. But then after the match, we got the appearance from the American Luchador. Definitely not Chad Gable. He attacked both guys. Security chased him away. I figured he was going to interfere and help the Creeds win. So maybe that's to throw people off even more. And you know, if he helped the Creeds, then people would be like, oh, it's Chad Gable. So maybe he's being smart here and letting the Creeds take a loss so the scent will be covered. I don't know. But it was entertaining. You know, I like the gimmick. And the crowd heat was awesome too. They were hot for the whole show. Then we had a reverse of a couple of those SmackDown segments, but this time it's on Raw. Seth Rollins comes out there. Crowd is singing his song. He actually got 2 standing ovations with the crowd singing the song. And then he finally talked. He brought up the cage match and said that he's not mad at Reigns because he would have done the same thing. He said the problem is Reigns doesn't have a plan. Reigns needs an architect like Paul Heyman. And then he called CM Punk the luckiest loser on the planet. Rollins was going to finish off Punk, but Reigns had to ruin it. And now Rollins has to clean up Reigns' mess. And then he said, since both guys are on SmackDown, he's figuring he will make the trip to Italy. Like I said, it was one of those SmackDown segments, but on Raw, where, he's just saying, well, the big stars aren't here tonight, so I'm going to go to SmackDown. And that's that. There you go. Another filler segment. We got to get Seth Rollins on the show. They could have just thrown up a graphic, Seth Rollins, or a quick little backstage promo. Rollins says he's going to be there. They could have accomplished what they needed to accomplish in 30 seconds instead of 6 or 7 minutes, however long the segment was. It was time filler. And then backstage, we had AJ Styles being interviewed, said that Logan Paul doesn't deserve to be on the WWE roster. And then Karrion Kross and Scarlett came in, and Kross was saying Styles should be mad at himself. It took him 17 years to get to WWE. Didn't take Logan Paul 17 years. And Styles said he knows Kross is trying to push buttons, and he just stormed off. I don't know where this Kross stuff is going. I feel like it has no real direction. It's just the same thing every week. Styles and Paul seems to be the WrestleMania match, but no Logan Paul this week. Not sure when he'll be back. We then had our main event of the evening, Finn Bálor versus Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker, the IC champion. Good match here. It was pretty solid, competitive with these two. And they were avoiding each other's moves. Breakker avoided the coup de grace. Bálor countered the spear. And then Dominic and Carlito showed up to try to interfere, but Dominic accidentally caused Bálor to lose his balance on the top rope. Breakker hit the top rope Frankensteiner and then pinned Bálor with the spear. The dissension in Judgment Day continues. And then there was a post-match attack, but Penta ran down to make the save. He picked up the title. He had a little face-off with Bron Breakker. He handed the title back to Breakker. Breakker held it up, and the show went off the air with them staring each other down. So it was not a big ending to Raw. It was kind of like you had the huge moment to kick off Raw, and then it kind of just went back into your normal show territory. And the ending, nothing too special. Match was pretty good, though. I did think Raw was a very good show, mostly due to the strength of the John Cena segment and the crowd reactions. And I believe this was the shortest Raw on Netflix to date. It was just not even 2.5 hours. It was like 2:25, something like that. So pretty short Raw. Did go by pretty quickly. I give it a strong 8 out of 10. Very good Raw. Not an all-time great Raw, though. I do think it fell a little bit short of being like a top-tier episode of Raw, but still a very good show. The Cena stuff in particular was well done. Like I said, Cena's performance was exceptional, and I do have some intrigue about where it's going to go. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the European tour. These crowds are on fire, and I love watching the shows earlier. I use a VPN for SmackDown. I definitely recommend that. Watching it early, of course, if you can. Some people have work or obligations, whatever, family. Can't watch it live, but if you can watch it live, I definitely recommend it. It's so much easier, and especially for me recapping the show, I love it. Shout out to Tiger, who sent in a €2 super chat. Thank you, Tiger. Says, John Cena has a valid point. The fans suck. Fickle. Well, Bryan Danielson said that years ago, and it is true. The fans, they call the shots, who they want to cheer for, who they want to boo for, and sometimes if they get sick of somebody, they're gonna let their voices be heard. And quite a few people predicted the Cena heel turn, and I was in the camp of it would be great, believe it when I see it. But they did it, and the buzz is definitely picking up for WrestleMania. And we'll be talking more about this on the No DQ review. So make sure you guys tune in Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll have a lot to discuss about this and the direction of WrestleMania. Should be a fun discussion. Take care, everybody. I'm heading out, get some dinner. Might be going to Popeyes for a chicken sandwich. Nice little treat after a busy day. Hang out with the family. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. I'll see you on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific for the No DQ review. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.